Right now, minus 46.6 degrees Celsius has just been recorded in Canada's Arctic. That is cold enough to freeze boiling water mid-air before it hits the ground. And tonight, that brutal cold is spreading. If you live anywhere in Canada, the next few minutes could change how you prepare for the next 72 hours. Stay with me because at the 5-minute mark, I am going to reveal which cities are about to experience a dramatic temperature swing of over 30 degrees and exactly when that shift begins. But first, here is a number that should stop you in your tracks. Over the last 48 hours, Toronto dropped to minus 21, Winnipeg hit minus 25, and one location in the Northern Territories just recorded minus 46.6. We are not talking about normal winter. We are talking about a cold snap that is testing the limits of infrastructure, vehicles, and human endurance across this entire country. And here is the twist most people are not expecting. A massive warming trend is about to collide with this deep freeze, and the timing of that collision matters more than the temperatures themselves. I will break down exactly when that happens for your city, but do not skip ahead, because the details in between could keep you and your family safe tonight. Let us start where the storm hits hardest. Atlantic Canada is getting hammered right now. In St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, the most easterly city on the entire North American continent, temperatures tonight are plunging to minus 5 to minus 10 degrees Celsius. But here is what makes St. John's dangerous tonight. Atlantic winds are driving hard across the Avalon Peninsula, carrying heavy moisture off the ocean. Significant snowfall is expected, and when you combine that snow with those winds, visibility could drop to near zero without warning. If you are in St. John's tonight, this is not the evening to be on the roads. The storm is peaking right now through the overnight hours, and conditions will not begin to ease until tomorrow morning. Now here is something most forecasts will not tell you. The cold in Halifax feels worse than the thermometer reads. Halifax is sitting at 0 degrees during the evening, sliding to minus 6 overnight. Those numbers sound manageable, right? Wrong. The ocean moisture bakes into that cold air and creates a damp chill that cuts straight through every layer you are wearing, right down to the bone. The sea breeze is pushing the wind chill well below what the thermometer shows. There is also a chance of light snow or a wintry mix through the overnight hours in Halifax. The storm window here runs from late evening tonight through early tomorrow morning. Now moving inland, and this is where it gets intense. Do not skip this next section if you are anywhere in Quebec or Ontario. Quebec City is dropping to minus 15 tonight. Let me put that in perspective. At minus 15, exposed skin can develop frostbite in just minutes. Not hours, minutes. The cold is arriving as we speak, and it will deepen steadily through the night, hitting its worst point in the pre-dawn hours around 4 to 5 in the morning. If you are stepping outside in Quebec City at any point tonight, cover every single centimeter of exposed skin, your ears, your nose, your fingertips. These are the first things frostbite attacks. Montreal, the second largest metro area in all of Canada, is sliding from minus 3 this evening down to minus 11 overnight. But here is where the plot twist comes in, and remember I told you to stay for the 5-minute mark? Montreal is sitting right on the edge of a major weather transition. Forecasters are pointing to the February 9th through 14th window as the start of a significant milder spell. That means within the next few days, Montreal could see rain mixed with snow and much warmer daytime highs. But tonight is still firmly locked in winter-esque grip. The cold peaks between midnight and 5 in the morning. After that, the slow warming begins. Ottawa, our nation's capital, one of the coldest capital cities anywhere on the planet, is dropping to minus 11 tonight. In February, Ottawa averages only about 5 hours of sunshine per day. That is roughly 43% of daylight hours. The rest is gray, heavy overcast. The Rideau Canal is frozen rock solid, but do not even think about skating after dark tonight. The frostbite risk is simply too high. And now, here is the section millions of you have been waiting for: Toronto. Canada's largest city just endured back-to-back days that were absolutely punishing. On February 7th, the high was only minus 13 with an overnight low of minus 21. On February 8th, minus 14 and minus 20. Those are not normal numbers for Toronto. Tonight, the city is looking at minus 8 to minus 10. Winds from the south at about 10 kilometers per hour, humidity at 65%, partly cloudy skies. The cold peaks tonight between midnight and 4 in the morning. But here is the reward I promised you. Tomorrow, February 10th, Toronto's high is expected to jump all the way to +2, above freezing. That is a swing of over 30 degrees from where the city was just 2 days ago. And that rapid temperature change brings its own danger. When the mercury bounces around the 0-degree mark, roads become treacherous with constant freeze and thaw cycles. Black ice forms, slush refreezes into sheets of glass. Drivers across the Greater Toronto Area, please exercise extreme caution over the next few days. The warming trend runs from February 9th through the 14th, but the most dangerous driving conditions will hit between February 10th and 12th, when the temperature is swinging back and forth across zero. Do not miss what is coming next, because the prairies are experiencing something even more extreme. About 100 kilometers north of Toronto, Barrie is sitting in prime lake effect snow territory tonight. Temperatures around -1 during the day, -8 overnight, with the possibility of light snow through the night as cold air retreats and warmer air pushes in from the south. Niagara Falls is faring slightly better, with temperatures around +2 during the day and -3 at night. And if you happen to be near the falls this evening, here is a sight worth braving the cold for. Portions of the falls are encased in ice right now, a phenomenon that only occurs during prolonged cold snaps. Photographers travel from around the world for this. London, Ontario, sitting squarely in the lake effect snowbelt courtesy of Lake Huron, is looking at +1 during the day, -5 overnight, with the chance of scattered snow tonight. Now, the prairies. This is where Canada's winter shows its true teeth. Winnipeg, Manitoba, right in the geographic center of North America, is dropping to -20 to -25 tonight. But here is the number that really matters. The wind chill. On the prairies, there is nothing to stop the wind. It blows unimpeded across thousands of kilometers of flat terrain. When you factor in that wind, Winnipeg feels like -35 to -40 tonight. At those temperatures, frostbite on exposed skin can develop in as little as 10 to 15 minutes. The dangerous cold window in Winnipeg runs from now through tomorrow morning, with the absolute worst conditions hitting between 1 and 6 in the morning. Regina, Saskatchewan, is looking at -18 to -25 tonight. Clear skies sound pleasant, but on the prairies, clear skies at night mean the heat radiates away from the ground at a ferocious rate, driving temperatures even lower through the overnight hours. And here is a phenomenon most people outside Saskatchewan have never heard of: ground blizzards. The wind picks up loose surface snow and blows it horizontally at eye level, creating full blizzard conditions without a single new snowflake actually falling from the sky. If you are driving near Regina tonight, this is what could hit you with zero warning. Saskatoon, about 260 kilometers north of Regina, is deep in the cold at -20 to -28. The South Saskatchewan River running through the city is frozen absolutely solid, buried under a thick blanket of snow. Saskatoon residents, make sure your vehicle has winter-grade oil and a fully charged battery. Keep an emergency survival kit in your trunk: a warm blanket, a flashlight, food, water, and a portable phone charger. If your car breaks down on a highway in these temperatures, that kit could be the difference between a bad night and a life-threatening emergency. Crossing into Alberta now, and here is an unexpected twist. Calgary, sitting at the foot of the Rocky Mountains, has a weather wildcard that no other Canadian city can match: the Chinook. A warm, dry wind that rolls down off the Rockies and can send temperatures soaring by 20 degrees or more in just a few hours. It is one of the most dramatic weather phenomena in the country. Tonight, though, the Chinook is not paying a visit. Calgary hit -4 during the day and is sliding to -13 overnight. The city sits at about 1,045 meters above sea level, and that altitude makes winter nights here noticeably colder than cities at the same latitude but lower elevation. The cold peaks between midnight and 5 in the morning. Edmonton, about 300 kilometers north of Calgary, the most northerly major city in Canada, is looking at -6, dropping to -14 overnight. February days in Edmonton are short. The sun sets early and the darkness stretches long. Edmonton's network of underground pedways and skywalks connecting downtown buildings is your best friend tonight. Use them. Fort St. John, technically in British Columbia, but with a climate that belongs entirely to the prairies, could plunge to -25 to -30 tonight. This is remote, sparsely populated country. Extreme cold here is genuinely life-threatening without proper preparation. And now, the section that is going to surprise you. Because while most of Canada is locked in a deep freeze, there is one corner of this country that feels like it belongs to a completely different planet. Vancouver, plus 5 degrees Celsius tonight, let that sink in. While Toronto sits at -10, while Winnipeg suffers through -25, Vancouver is plus 5. That is a temperature difference of 30 degrees compared to Toronto and 45 degrees compared to the Arctic. Tomorrow, Vancouver climbs to plus 8 with rain, 10 to 15 millimeters in the morning, heavier accumulations of 10 to 20 millimeters tomorrow night, south winds at 20 kilometers per hour. The trade-off for Vancouver's mild temperatures is rain and plenty of it. Grab your umbrella. That is your winter survival gear on the Pacific coast. Victoria, on the southern tip of Vancouver Island, is plus 4 to plus 7 tonight with light rain. This is a city where cherry blossoms can start blooming as early as February. While the rest of Canada is buried in snow, Victoria is watching flowers prepare to open. That is the staggering climatic diversity packed into one single country. Now let us go to the extreme. Canada's far north, Whitehorse, Yukon could see -20 to -30 tonight. February days up here are only 8 to 9 hours long, but here is the silver lining that makes it all worth enduring, the aurora borealis. February is one of the best months to catch the northern lights in the Yukon. If skies clear tonight, Whitehorse residents could see ribbons of green, purple, and pink light dancing across the night sky. If you have never seen the aurora in person, it makes the bone-chilling cold absolutely worth it. Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, is plunging to -30 to -40 tonight. Great Slave Lake has been frozen solid for weeks, with ice thick enough to support heavy trucks. Several ice roads across the lake serve as official transportation routes right now. Yellowknife residents, keep your taps dripping to prevent pipes from freezing. Make sure your block heater is plugged in and check your furnace regularly tonight. Iqaluit, Nunavut in Canada's high Arctic, -30 to -40, and with Arctic winds, the wind chill could push the feels-like temperature below -50. The sun barely peaks above the horizon for a few hours before disappearing again. The Inuit and indigenous communities here have adapted to these conditions over thousands of years, but extreme cold of this magnitude demands respect and thorough preparation from everyone. Now here is your quick reference guide. Save this, screenshot it, share it. Atlantic Canada, 0 to -10 tonight, moderating ocean influence, chance of snow and wintry mix, storm peaks overnight and eases by morning. Quebec and Ontario, -3 to -15 tonight, cold peaks between midnight and 5 in the morning, major warming trend beginning February 10th through the 14th. Watch for dangerous freeze and thaw road conditions. The Prairies, -18 to -28 tonight, wind chill pushing feels like temperatures to -35 to -40. Worst conditions between 1 and 6 in the morning, ground blizzard risk in Saskatchewan. Alberta, -4 to -14 tonight, no Chinook relief expected, cold peaks midnight to 5 in the morning. British Columbia coast, +4 to +8, rain is your concern, not cold, 10 to 20 millimeters expected tomorrow. The Territories, -20 to -46, extreme cold warnings in effect, aurora borealis possible in Yukon if skies clear. Before I let you go, 5 things that could save your life or someone else's tonight. Layer your clothing. Multiple thin layers trap heat far more effectively than a single thick one. Moisture-wicking base layer, fleece insulation in the middle, windproof and waterproof outer layer. Cover all exposed skin. Your ears, nose, cheeks, chin, and fingers are the most vulnerable to frostbite. If you are driving, make sure you have winter tires, extreme cold-rated washer fluid, and an emergency kit in your trunk with a warm blanket, flashlight, food, water, and a backup phone charger. Check on your elderly neighbors tonight. Check on families with young children. Check on anyone who may not have adequate shelter or heating. A little community care in conditions like tonight's can genuinely save lives. And for everyone on the West Coast, your concern tonight is not cold, but heavy rain and gusty winds. Watch for localized flooding and downed trees. Now here is what is coming next that you absolutely need to know about. That warming trend I mentioned, it is not just a one-day event. The February 9th through 14th window could reshape the weather pattern across southern Canada for the rest of the month. Whether that means relief or a whole new set of problems depends entirely on where you live. I'm going to break all of that down in the next update, including which cities could see the most dramatic shifts and what that means for road conditions, flooding risk, and your daily routine. Make sure you do not miss it. Drop a comment right now telling me where you are watching from. I want to make sure your city gets covered in the next forecast. Every comment helps me know exactly which regions need the most detailed updates. Your city, your town, your province. Let me know, and I will make sure you get the information you need to stay safe and prepared. Stay warm tonight, Canada. This winter is not done with us yet, but together